Good afternoon. I'm Diana Turoff, President and CEO of Finance Fund. I'm honored to be here today with Mayor Andrew Ginther, Council Member Shayla Favor, and other community leaders to announce the conversion of this blighted property into affordable housing units and community space. It truly takes the commitment of a city's leadership to create significant change for those facing the greatest barriers to success. Columbus is lucky to be represented by a number of driven, dedicated public servants. Finance Fund is a mission-driven, statewide nonprofit organization. We connect underserved communities and neighborhoods with needed capital and creative funding sources. We simplify the complexities of the funding process to help good ideas come to life. Ideas that change systems, create jobs, address community needs, and improve people's quality of life. Finance Fund is the real estate developer of this project, and we look forward to working with our partners to support future campus residents. This is a dynamic example of what our organization does best, connecting people with the opportunity and capital needed to revitalize neighborhoods and improve lives. A special thanks to all Finance Fund staff and board members. With us today are several staff members and 3 board members. Jerry Katz, our board chair, Greg Kiger, and Jack Laverty. The project we are here to share today is the result of a number of passionate partners coming together in support of some of our most vulnerable neighbors. You'll hear from some of them momentarily. Ann Bischoff, the CEO of Star House, the only 24/7 drop-in center for homeless youth in Central Ohio, will speak to the immense need of affordable housing for young adults in our community, as well as to the vision of how service providers can meet those needs. And a special thanks to the driver of this project, our very own Vice President of Real Estate Development, Jeff Mormon. Jeff started with our organization last summer, and one day shy of his 1-year anniversary, we were under contract to purchase this property. And when we asked Jeff why we would want to purchase former blighted hotels, he said, "Well, I have this idea." And boy, did he. And for those of you fortunate enough to know Jeff, you understand exactly why he is the person to spearhead this project and see it to its fruition. Thank you, Jeff. Finally, I would like to thank the City of Columbus for its overwhelming support of this effort. Mayor Ginther, Councilmember Hardin, Councilmember Favor, and their colleagues have come together to generously support the development of this former motel space into much-needed affordable housing, primarily for youth facing homelessness or aging out of the foster care system. This project would not be possible without the city's investment and shared belief among our leaders that no youth in our community should wonder where they will sleep. It is my honor to introduce our next speaker to you. Mayor Andrew Ginther is a champion of neighborhoods. Mayor Ginther was born and raised in Columbus. He attended Columbus City Schools, and he graduated from Whetstone High School. His top priority is strengthening our neighborhoods, and he has put significant investment into affordable housing and neighborhood revitalization during his tenure as our city's leader. You'll note I haven't given a name for this project during my remarks. We're excited for Mayor Ginther to share that much-anticipated announcement when he comes to the podium. Mayor Ginther, thank you for your incredible dedication to this project and to affordable housing needs throughout Columbus neighborhoods. Now, if you'll please join me in giving Mayor Ginther a warm welcome.
Thank you, Diana, for that kind introduction. What a great day in the city of Columbus. It may be overcast and chilly, but the future of our neighbors has never been more bright with this announcement here today. Columbus is in a time of unprecedented growth with record low unemployment and a booming housing market. 2/3 of our residents are doing better than they ever have before, but a third of our neighbors are still struggling to make ends meet. They've been left out of our community success story, and that's not acceptable in America's Opportunity City. Some of our youth are particularly at risk, especially those transitioning out of foster care. I know a thing or two about this. I saw firsthand the struggles that foster kids face. My parents fostered 47 children while I was growing up, not all at the same time. Some came to spend the night, and spent 10 years. I remember one foster brother in particular. It was a time, as a young person, you really, all you want is all of your parents' undivided love and attention. And so, as a young person struggling to figure out what these other kids were doing in our house, and understanding that not everyone had what I had growing up. And I think of one foster brother, I'll call him Jeff. He'd asked me to go with him to visit his father. Now, Jeff was a pretty angry kid. And we fought a lot over just about everything. He was short and stocky like a rocket ready to go off. He asked me to go with him to visit his father, and I didn't quite understand it because we weren't exactly close. But then I realized he was going to visit his father in prison. I had never been to prison before. And so the sounds of those doors locking behind you, the scenes that you see inside a prison, and of course, the smells. Jeff's dad was in prison for killing his mother. And it was this experience for me that had me understand and better appreciate why so many young people struggle to succeed. Not every family in every neighborhood had the same resources and support that I had. Jeff was separated from his dad through no fault of his own and would never experience his mother's direct love and care. And it really affected me, the way I think about young people in our community and my experience as a foster brother to all my brothers and sisters. I recognize that not every child gets the same opportunities, but we all have a chance to do something to address that. My mom and dad continued to help my foster brothers and sisters, including Jeff, after they had left the system, but many children aren't that fortunate. You think about all the times in your late teens and 20s that your parents bailed you out with an unexpected car repair or just a home-cooked meal or a place to wash your clothes because maybe you overspent a little too early in the month. So many of our kids that are coming out of the foster system don't have that. They do not have the safety net and the support and resources we all took for granted. Roughly 1,000 youth transition out of foster care in Ohio each year. Less than a half with a job or job training, and many without stable housing. Today marks the beginning of a transformation of this site from 2 hotels into affordable community-style housing for our at-risk youth. It also represents the opportunity for transformation and success for nearly 100 of our 18 to 24-year-olds. The city invested a lot, and we're proud of our commitment of $1.6 million into this project through funds that were allocated to support the work of the Affordable Housing Alliance in 2017. This is part of our overarching and overreaching goal in closing the gap on affordable housing in our great city. This work couldn't be completed without many partners, including the Finance Fund and the Star House, both of whom will talk more in detail about their commitments. It's fitting that in Columbus's original neighborhood, Franklinton, we make this announcement today. It's also a part of our community-wide effort to revitalize this great neighborhood, and one that began many years ago with great leaders like Carol Stewart. Carol was one of the founding members of the Franklinton Area Commission, and to many, she was known as the mayor of Franklinton. I'm glad I never had to run against her. It is fitting that we name this project Carol Stewart Village to recognize Carol's commitment to her neighborhood. And I'm not sure if there are any members of the Stewart family here. We were hoping they would make it. Thank you all. Mark, thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing an incredible woman with this great city and this neighborhood. And we're so honored to be able to recognize her and her service and your great family. She's an amazing woman. And Franklinton is who it is today and who it's going to be tomorrow. And our city is who it is today and who we're going to be tomorrow because of Carol. So thank you. Columbus has a great future ahead of it. I believe one big enough and bright enough for everyone, regardless of their background, their experience, and where they come from. The future of this city really is rooted in the amazing residents of this community, the way we work together and the way we lift up one another. I'm proud. This is my first time doing this. Although she's now the second newest member of Columbus City Council, please welcome our great partner in all this work, Councilmember Shayla Favor.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Ginther, for the introduction and to your commitment to our neighborhoods. On behalf of my colleagues at Columbus City Council, I want to thank you all for being here this afternoon for this exciting announcement. As chair of the Housing and Economic Development Committee, I am truly honored to participate in this momentous occasion. And what a moment this is, not only for the city of Columbus, but for our at-risk youth. As a zone attorney, I am proud to have played a role in the city's efforts to address neighborhood disparity through the abatement of nuisance properties. Eliminating blight gets to the heart of protecting our public safety and improving the quality of life of all of our residents. I have personally filed numerous nuisance abatement actions against property owners just like this one, who have used or permitted their property to be used to conduct illegal activity. In fact, I was a part of the initial inspection of this property just a few years ago and have been inside almost half of them. I witnessed firsthand the uninhabitable living conditions of this property, from general disrepair to needles, criminal activity. If you can think of it, I witnessed it that day. Properties like this that have been abated for nuisance activity are a drain on city and police resources. They substantially interfere with public decency, and they threaten the health, safety, and welfare of the people of Columbus. Upon adjudication and court-mandated closure and board up like you see today, many of these properties sit vacant and abandoned for years in our city. The illegal activity may cease, but the blight continues to seep into the fabric of our community, often depicting a story that fails to accurately demonstrate our commitment to the revitalization of our communities in Columbus. That is why this project is so important. The Carol Stewart Village will create an opportunity for some of our most vulnerable residents while addressing the critical needs of our at-risk youth. In Central Ohio, we have over 1,500 youth who do not have a place to call home. Our investment in the Carol Stewart Village is critical to ensuring the success of our transitional youth and the next generation of leaders in Columbus. There's an old saying that states, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. By taking a comprehensive approach the Carol Stewart Village will provide opportunities for housing, healthcare, counseling, and employment, thus providing the tools to empower our youth to not only survive, but to thrive. Thank you to our partners at the Finance Fund, Star House, Mayor Ginther, and the Department of Development for your commitment to ensuring the success of this project. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Ann Bischoff, Executive Director of the Star House, the nation's only research-based drop-in center for homeless youth.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you to each and every one of you for coming out to this momentous occasion today. Thank you, Mayor Ginther, Councilmember Faber, the City of Columbus, for your investment in this community within a community. Thank you also to Finance Fund for your partnership. And I'd also like to thank our Star House board members who are here, our staff, and most importantly, our guests who are here. Thank you for your voice. You young people are the reason that we're here today. Yes. In Central Ohio, over the course of a year, there are thousands of young people who experience homelessness. And as Mayor Ginther alluded to earlier, their stories are that of displacement. They're disconnected from family, aging out of foster care without mom's basement or dad's pocketbook to fall back on. Some youth identify as LGBTQ, and they tell us that they've been ostracized from their community with nowhere else to turn. Other youth have run away from abusive situations and have nowhere else to go. And they find themselves in this catch-22 of despair. They don't have the opportunity to gain a livable wage job, and without that, they can't afford transportation, and they certainly can't afford rent. And so Carol Stewart Village is about turning that catch-22 situation on its head. Connecting youth, yes, with efficiency apartments, but we know that housing alone does not solve homelessness. Relationships and resources do. And so that's what Carol Stewart is going to provide. Access to livable wage jobs through employer partners. Employer partners, we need you. Industry credentials, access to social services like healthcare, therapy, transportation, and the like to ensure that they can get to their job or their education opportunity every day. And most importantly, there will be social connections baked into the very fabric of this community. We at Star House host continuous best practice research. And we know that one of the greatest predictors of exiting homelessness is people in your lives, that safety net that's there. And so for that reason, our young people at Carol Stewart Community will be connected with Open Table. This is a new mentor program where each young person will be connected, if they choose to be, with a table of mentors, 6 to 8 people who will be there to cheer them on, be that person to call, and set them on the trajectory to long-term stability. And so to pull this off, we cannot do this alone. This is not a Star House thing. This isn't just a Finance Fund thing. This is about our larger community, as we have been putting a stake in the ground and saying, young people, we see you, we hear you, and you are not defined by your circumstances. You're capable of more, and we want to help see you through. So we invite you, community, join us as mentors, volunteers, employer partners, industry partners, social service partners, and investors in what we hope is the first of many communities of this kind all around Central Ohio. If you are interested in joining us, I invite you to reach out as a partner. Reach out to info@starhousecolumbus.org. Again, info@starhousecolumbus.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Working with you these past few months, it's been a true honor. I'm in awe of the depth and breadth of the services you and your colleagues provide to the young adults of Central Ohio. And we're thankful to have such a strong representation of those youth here today. Columbus is a wonderful city, and Franklinton is a great community. This neighborhood is strong, resilient, and resourceful. We believe that this new development will reflect that character. I'd like to thank Diana Turoff and the rest of the Finance Fund staff for going along with this crazy idea. When we first began to dream of what this development could be last August, we had very few specifics. It took a lot of trust, a leap of faith, and more than a few introductions from Kim Stans to get to this point. Since Finance Fund had led the efforts to acquire the property, I'd like to share some of the specifics of the plans of this project. So the entire property sits on a little over 4 acres of land and includes 7 one-story buildings. We anticipate converting these former hotels into 100 efficiency apartments. Each unit will have a bathroom, kitchenette, and at least 1 dedicated parking space. We will add front porches to keep with the design of Franklinton and to create an inviting space to call home. The overall theme of these units is a community within a community. There will be common areas for gathering, and we aim to create a campus feel for the youth residents, complete with wraparound physical and mental health services you'd hope to find on any college campus today. You'll note that we're located on a bus line and within walking distance to other services, including dental and vision care, a grocery store, and park space. Additionally, COSI generously donated a 14-passenger shuttle so that we will be able to help move youth to job training, employment, and other wraparound services within and near the Franklinton community. Stable housing is a necessary foundation of any healthy neighborhood, and that is what we aim to provide here at this project. Carol Stewart Village represents a judicious, evidence-based use of local public dollars in the support of a population that has lived in the shadows of our community for far too long. Bringing new light to this historic neighborhood, the concept of this particular project is admittedly unique. Its uniqueness is a necessary strength, but that requires the buy-in of many partners. Many of them have been mentioned here today, but I would be remiss without thanking the following: the young adults here and those they represent, who have and will continue to provide wisdom and guidance as we journey together. You have been at the table and been a part of some very difficult conversations with adults that don't always get it. Your bravery and your willingness to share your experiences is vital to this community's long-term success. To the City of Columbus, to Mayor Ginther, Councilmember Favorite, and the rest of City Council, to Director Shoney in the Department of Development and the Department of Building and Zoning Services, we cannot thank you enough for your incredible financial support, technical assistance, and willingness to make this project happen. To the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority, your belief in this project and your willingness to work with us, even when we had very few details, has been a tremendous support. To the service providers who tirelessly work to make our community more inclusive and welcoming. To Star House, to Homeless Family Foundation, the YMCA, Salvation Army, Huck House, Kaleidoscope, Community Shelter Board, Cohio, Corporation for Supportive Housing, Community Housing Network, and Integrated Services for Behavioral Health, and many others. Thank you for allowing us to join you. To the consultants and the construction team that make this possible. To Gorsuch Construction, Triad Architects, Structure Point Engineering, Stone Environmental, North American Environmental, Star House, Star Title, Adam Sod, and NAI Ohio Equities. To the Franklinton Neighborhood Partners, Mount Carmel, Fuel, Franklinton Board of Trade, Lower Lights, Franklinton Rising, Franklinton Preparatory Academy, Gladden Community House, Columbus Works, Fortuity Calling, and many others. There have been many local actors over the last several decades who dedicated their lives and careers to Franklinton. We are humbled by their passion, their doggedness, and their ability to innovate. One of those advocates is Carol Stewart, and as Mayor Ginther described her work, I could not help but think we would be hard-pressed to find a better project suited to honor her legacy of a wonderful woman from whom I was fortunate enough to learn the history of this neighborhood. So thank you to Carol's family, to Mayor Ginther and all the leaders recognized today. We look forward to honoring Carol's legacy with Carol Stewart Village, and I hope to return this fall for an official ribbon cutting. We appreciate everyone coming out today. What a great turnout. Please help yourself to Stoff's Coffee and one of our employment partners. Thank you for being here.